I remember lying on a hospital bed, surrounded a lot of people dressed in white, with my twin flame stood on my right side. To this day I remember the feeling of the baby's floppy, warm body being laid onto my naked chest, the way he moved, the weight of him. I remember the feeling of his wet hair as I ran my fingers through it. Having never even held a newborn baby, I was amazed to have the sensory accuracy of this experience confirmed to me a year or so down the line. In the dream, I distinctly remember my twin leaning in and whispering something in Arabic in the baby's ear. I recognized it as the Islamic call to prayer. Of course I didn't know it at the time, but according to the Islamic tradition, the first words a new baby should hear are the call to prayer, and it is the father who whispers this into the baby's right ear. It is certainly no coincidence that my twin soon thereafter told me that he had started to read the Quran and was finding a lot of comfort in it, and in fact years later he converted to Islam. Daughter's mama. For a while I was quietly convinced that I was meant to have children with him. After all, it seemed too random that I would have been woken up spiritually after years of separation, reunited with him and then bombarded by visions of a child together, only to be denied both the reunion and the child. On the contrary, it made perfect sense that we were meant to do this together. We both wanted children and dreamt of a similar life. Shared deep values and loved each other. Yet the reality of the connection was that he was now pulling away again, having told me he had done his soul searching and decided to remain in his marriage. A few months later, still riding the wave of confusion between my twins' hints at deep feelings and denials of any possible future with me, I had another series of visions and dreams. In one that particularly stuck in my mind, I was back in my native country, browsing around in a shop with my mother and 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. The weather outside was wet and cold, which made me think of late autumn weather. Suddenly my phone rang and I was surprised to hear my twin's voice on the other end. Clearly he had not called me for years. He basically told me that I was the one he had always loved and how he wasn't afraid anymore. After all these years, he was finally ready to be with me and to see where the road would take us. I fell down on my knees sobbing out of sheer relief. The dream stayed with me vividly for many reasons. One of which was that it was clear these children were mine but not his. They were no longer babies either, indicating that the separation had been long. The dream had been just as real as the others, yet I refused to entertain the idea that these precious children were not going to be my twins. I simply could not see how I could ever want another man after the intense purification I had gone through to reach this vibration of unconditional love for him. Nevertheless, a few months later it became clear that I was paying too high an emotional price for hanging on. After one last conversation which confirmed to me that this was not meant to be, I left everything behind and set off to travel the world. Unexpectedly I met a man who seemed to know what he wanted and who was serious about building a family together. I remember looking at him and just knowing I was meant to have children with him. This man was a godsend. Unlike my twin, he was there for me every step of the way as I finally once and for all moved on from the abusive relationship I had been in. When we married 6 months later I was already pregnant with our first child, a boy, the boy that I had been dreaming about for several months. When my twin found out about my marriage and pregnancy, he remained silent and did not even congratulate me. It was only once the baby was born and I sent him a picture that he tearfully replied, telling me how emotional he felt seeing me holding the baby with my tender maternal yet firm arms. I knew things had unfolded just as they were supposed to, however it took a decade for my children, 2 boys and a girl, to grow enough for me to remember and recognize them as the children in my dream. They are exactly as I envisioned them all those years ago. In conclusion, it is true that we as women have been blessed with the ability to act as portals between the spirit world and the human experience, and that many of us will accept the task of bringing new souls into this world, even if this is unlikely to be with our twin flame. However, beyond the decision to have children together or not, twin flames are always co-creators, always love, always one. They share the gift of authentic heart creation, as well as shared responsibility to nurture and help ripen the seed of divine love, ignited by the male in the woman. She often bears the burden of this seed until it is ready to manifest into the physical world, very much as if she was carrying a child. In the meantime, the twin flames have a duty to use their creative impulses and the gift of authentic heart creation to advance their own spiritual journey, help others and to bring balance to their union. We hope this channel has helped you discover where to start on your actual paths. It's a good karma to put a like, subscribe and share. Leave your suggestion in the field below. With all the love to you.